What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. I don't know what bug crawled up Isiah Thomas' H-hole, but, this guy really hates Michael Jordan, man. He really hates him. And, look, I'm not going to sit up and act like Mike hasn't contributed to some of this himself. But for Isiah Thomas to be 63 years old and this bitter and using the bully pulpit of the media to try to rewrite history and make it seem like, Michael Jordan's dominance is sort of media created or media enhanced, and he's getting too much credit. And so now he's saying that, Michael Jordan really wasn't competition for him. And he said this before, but this is a new iteration of that old point. So he said on a recent episode of Club Shay Shay, so I'm guessing he's ready to appear in a podcast. Well, not podcast, but an episode of Shay's podcast / talk show. He said, quote, just head to head, I was dominant over him. When our teams met, you go back and you look at until 1991, when I basically had a career-ending wrist injury. Right up until then, my record against him and his team, it really wasn't a competition. Okay, look, man. I just did a little research before I did this video. I don't know what the win-loss margin it was between them, but I know Isiah had a winning record against Mike. Okay. In the 43 games that they played against each other in the regular season, Isiah Thomas averaged 21 points, 3.9 rebounds, 9.3 assists, and 1.7 steals. Okay. On 44% shooting from the floor. Now, for those who say it's kind of low, remember he was a 6'1" point guard, and also remember this was a different era where the spacing wasn't the same, and you could be very physical. And you didn't have these unchallenged, or what's the word I'm looking for? You didn't have these easy forays to the basket that these guys have today. So anyway, that's 21 points, 3.9 rebounds, 9.3 assists, 1.7 steals on 44% shooting from the floor. Michael Jordan against a team where they keyed in on him specifically and made life hard for him, made it almost impossible for him to drive the basket, especially after 1988. Okay? He had to work for his points. He still averaged 31.6 points, 6.2 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 2.3 steals on 48% shooting. Now, the shooting was a little bit below his norm at that time, 51%, but the numbers are actually on par with his averages. So they didn't stop him. And as a matter of fact, before they devised schemes specifically geared to stopping him, he was putting up some big games against them. 61 points late in the 86-87 season, tying his then career regular season high. A 59-point masterpiece against the Pistons on national television on CBS. I think it was March of 1988. So he was monitoring that team. As far as you guys always beating them, well, of course, it's the natural trajectory of your career at the time. You were at the peak of your career. Mike was ascending to that point of his career. I do know one thing, he had a much longer peak than yours, and that involved a fucking retirement. Even with a retirement, his peak was better than yours and longer than yours. but we could do this with anybody. Look, Isiah Thomas, between 1980, 81, when you first came to the league, from 1981 until, let's say, 1988, you kept losing to Bird. You weren't really competition to him. You know, we could do that. Let's play that game. Can we play that game? Can we look at Larry Bird versus Isiah Thomas? Let's please play this game. Larry Bird versus Isiah Thomas. StatMuse. So Larry Bird averaged 26.3 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 6.7 assists in 41 games versus Isiah Thomas in his career. And I'm you know, that's going to include the down years. My goodness, man, he was killing them. Now, his last game, he had 11 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists. But look, January 10th, 1982, 40 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists. 82, 32. I'm just going to read the numbers. 32 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists. 18 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. 29 points, 9 rebounds, 12 assists. 30 points, 16 rebounds, 12 assists. 23, 18, and 3. 20, 10, and 6. 39, 8, and 5. 28, 19, and 5. 29, 20, and 6. 33, 13, and 8. 34, 7, and 5. 23, 17, and 7. Just 47, 12, and 2. 26, 12, and 8. 35, 9, and 7. And that's the peak years. So, yeah, my point is, of course you were dominating him. Your team, I should say, was dominating Michael Jordan. But you weren't stopping Michael Jordan. You weren't primarily guarding Michael Jordan. You know, and you had a better team than Michael Jordan at that time. You know what I'm saying? Yes, technically, he was only playing with one, I think, one Hall of Famer. And Dennis Rodman, I don't think Joe Dumars is a Hall of Famer. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Let me check that out. No, he is. So, yeah, you were playing with 2 Hall of Famers, Joe Dumars, and you was playing with Dennis Rodman. And Bill Laimbeer is very underrated. I can't stand the bastard, but he's very underrated. He would flourish today. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, you had one of the first stretch fives in the NBA playing on your team. You know what I'm saying? You had really good role players, John Spider Sally, you know, Buddha Edwards, Vinnie Johnson. You know what I'm saying? You guys had Adrian Dantley for a while. You know what I'm saying? Former scoring two-time champion. Former two-time scoring champion. You had Mark Aguirre on that team. You know what I'm saying? Who was a former All-Star with the Mavericks. So, yeah, that team was loaded as far as deep. Rick Mahorn, who later was part of the what was it called? Thump and Bump, with him and Charles Barkley when they played in Philly. So those teams were deep, man. Stop acting like you was playing this dude one-on-one. You're just mad because you don't get the same fanfare, the same acclaim that Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson did. You don't. You don't get the same, and it bothers you. It bothers you, bro. But you know what? You did that to yourself. You did that to yourself. Because I'm here to tell the truth. I'm not here to set an agenda. I'm here to tell the truth, at least for as far as how I see it. You beat Larry Bird when he got injured. He was having a magnificent 87-88 season, but toward the end, he started being plagued with bone spurs, and his back started going out on him. He fell apart. He was never the same. When you beat the Celtics in the playoffs the very next year, you beat a Celtic team that was an 8 seed, primarily because Larry Bird wasn't playing, which should end all speculation that Larry Bird only won because of help. He came into Boston, helped to lead a 32-game turnaround. When he left, along with McHale and Parrish, but when he left, they started declining. Okay, when he was injured in 89, they were an 8 seed. So, you know, that's part of it. When you beat Magic in the finals, he was hurt. So if you want to sit there and talk about how your wrist injury helped Michael, well, goddamn it, some of your rings were helped because of injuries. Keep it a buck. I still think if Magic and Byron Scott didn't get hurt, Magic would have a 6th ring. He would have ring number 6 in 89 because they were 11-0 in the playoffs going into their finals. They were rolling. They were playing the best basketball you could argue of Showtime. So it's Cap. Okay? And the Bulls, I said before my other video, the Bulls were getting better every year. In 88, yeah, you guys knocked them out in the second round. In 89, y'all beat them in the conference finals 4-2. In 90, y'all beat them in the conference finals 4-3. So the natural progression was that I believe even if you were completely healthy, they would have still beaten y'all in the conference finals. May not have been a sweep, but they still would have beaten y'all probably 4-2 or something. 4-2, 4-1. They still would have beat your ass. I mean, like I said, in 89, y'all beat nothing but injured teams. And I want to say one other thing, too, that gets on my damn nerves. When everybody keeps saying that the Bulls benefited from expansion, right? Okay, there's some truth to that. But let's not forget that in 87, 88, I think it was that year. Was it 87, 88 or 88, 89? I think it was 88, 89. But in 88, 89 and 89, 90, or it might have been 87, 88, 88. I know 88, 89, 89, 90. I think that's the case. 4 franchises were added to the NBA. The Magic, the Timberwolves, the Heat, and the Hornets. You don't think that helped the Pistons as well? It also helped the Pistons that they were the first team to have private flights, chartered flights. You don't think it helped them to beat up on the league where everybody else was still flying commercial and they were the first team to have their own plane? I think it had Bad Boy on the side. They had their own plane. Then afterward, the rest of the league said, okay, well, we need our own planes too. And that give you a hell of a goddamn advantage. Well, all these other guys got to get up 5:30 in the morning, catch their flight, cramp those little ass seats with regular sized people. While y'all guys just had to go. You had a plane to fly to you and pick you guys up if you're on the road. You all this extra rest. But anyway, that's all I got to say on this one, man. Tell me what you guys think.